you have this incredible tour kicking off here shortly. It's a spring tour with a string quartet, even. Where did the concept for this stripped down tour come from?
No, years ago, I started doing symphony shows, which were, in a way, a rebirth for me. I was so excited. I'd sat in front of this orchestra and, I would play songs that I wouldn't necessarily play with the rock band. And I've worked with such incredible composers throughout my career. It was really exciting, and we wanted to take it to smaller venues. You can't bring a, 36-piece orchestra into every venue. So we started doing these quartet shows, and I was so blessed to meet and come up with this amazing group of players. They are all prodigy players. They all play on Broadway. My violin player, Katie, just won a Tony Award. I mean, they're just they're just insanely amazing and wonderful people. And so it really allows us to do a unique Five for Fighting show, a different kind of permutation of this stuff. And it's very intimate, it's very musical. There's always surprises. They're also really goofy. And the stories I could tell you about them. They're just so fun, and they love playing rock music. They grew up playing classical. They're
Oh,
on
sure.
their favorite thing is let's go be rock stars. So we're really excited, and we're bringing it to towns that we've never been in before. So that's also exciting for me. One of the great things about my job is I get to see all aspects of America, and I get to go into all these small towns and go to every state. And so we're starting in Fargo, North Dakota. And I have never been to Fargo, and I'm excited about that. So yeah, we're blessed, and it's amazing.
How hands-on were you then when it came to crafting the composition of this new version of your songs? Were you like, okay, let's do a little violin here, and sort of as far as crafting your songs around their talents?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you kind of take the big orchestra arrangements and you reduce them. And that's not in my skill set. So thank goodness Katie can do that. But also, some of these arrangements I have written too. So I can kind of get with them and talk about how to do that. And frankly, the arrangement for the Ukraine song "Can One Man Save the World," Katie and I wrote in the back of a van touring across America. So, you never know how these things can come about. But that's the fun part, the new song, the song about October 7th, is just a cello part that my amazing, again, super genius buddy Dave Egger played. And so, that song's just piano and cello. So that's really kind of just a performance every night, and you never know what you're going to get. It's very improv. So there's all different things. And as I said, I just sit there and I try not to forget the words because I'm watching them go crazy.
You mentioned these are smaller venues, they're theaters and performing art centers, and you're starting in Fargo. Are there some places you're looking forward to be performing in? I mean, since they are places you haven't been to and they're smaller venues, are there certain spaces you've eager to look forward to performing in?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of new spots and our old stomping grounds. We always started our tours with Minneapolis. Minneapolis kind of broke Five for Fighting. And so every time we go back to Minneapolis, it's like our second home. And we're going to the Aladdin Theater in Portland, where I spent many shows early in my career, and we haven't gone back in a while. And then, we're going to Washington State and playing 3 shows starting in Olympia. And we haven't played any of those. We played Seattle a million times, but to go out into the suburbs. So yeah, Chicago is always special. I mean, there's really not one place I'm like, oh, I wish we weren't going there. you know. Um, and so yeah, I think every night's special. Every show's unique, and you never know what you're gonna get.
Well, I know that you've got this new song, Okay, out now, and you've had Can One Man Save the World and Blood on My Hands. Why is the Ukrainian plight and also the state of current politics such a topical discussion and something important for you to explore in your music?
I wish I had a good answer for that. I've never been someone who uh, kind of spouts my politics or kind of lectures from a podium like so many celebrities like to do. It frankly annoys me. But I did see, when Superman became one of the songs that recognized the heroes of 9/11 and playing the concert for New York, I did see how music can transcend, right, and provide solace to people suffering, and also raise awareness for issues. And I've been doing that throughout my career. I've spent 20 years, performing for the troops, and me and Gary Sinise do a lot of stuff together, and the troops has become like a passion for me. Whatever, they protect our freedom, our military families. I write songs about them. Two Lights, Note from an Unknown Soldier, Freedom Never Cries. So I've always been writing songs about freedom and the importance of freedom. But when we withdrew from Afghanistan, that scared me. I know a lot of soldiers, and I know a lot of leadership in the military. And many of our Afghan veterans were gutted that we abandoned their allies. They've been fighting with them for 20 years, and some of them saved their lives. And all of a sudden, we abandoned them and American citizens to the Taliban. So that made me angry. That made me scared. And I wrote Blood on My Hands. Everybody said you can't put it out, and I put it out. And some people liked it, some people didn't. But the veterans that heard that, it was very meaningful to them because they felt, okay, somebody feels my pain. I'm not alone in this. And I was hoping that would be the last time I ever did that. And then here comes the Ukraine war, and again, it was kind of just like a visceral reaction. I was inspired by Zelensky when, we offered him a plane ticket and he said, no, I'm going to stay and send me some Stinger missiles and I'll probably be dead in the next week with my wife and my three little girls. And I'm like, haven't seen that kind of courage in a while. And so I wrote Can One Man Save the World? And that ended up being an insane adventure where, as you know, I went to Ukraine and I performed with the Ukrainian orchestra in a blown up airport and met so many of the people over there. And it was incredibly powerful experience. And again, I think it raised some awareness. And then I'm like, okay, glad I never have to do that again. And then here comes October 7th, right? And the aftermath. And even though the song "Okay," and the theme of "We Are Not Okay," um, uh, recognizes the atrocities of October 7th that were all horrifying. It's really about the collapse of the cultures and the celebrations we saw on Times Square in our colleges, and the rampant anti-Semitism taking over the world, and really the collapse of kind of a lot of our institutions. And so that song again, Israel shared it on their social media, and it became this huge thing. Frankly, this weekend I'm having some meetings with some top Jewish organizations, as well as Ukrainian influencers and folks like that. So, a lot of this is connected. Hamas, Iran, Putin, the women of Iran who are incredibly heroic, trying to fight for their human rights. The girls still can't go to school in Afghanistan. So all this stuff is connected, right? And so for whatever reason, I feel these are moral messages. I don't believe they're political ones. Um, in this world, everybody will make them political, but they're not. When I released Blood on My Hands, people on the right embraced it, people on the left shunned it. When I put out Ukraine song, pretty much everybody embraced it initially, and now there's some pushback on Ukraine. And with this, with the October 7th, okay song, again, you get very, powerful reactions from every side. But to me, it's good versus evil. The hero of okay is a Palestinian woman calling out Hamas. So it's not a pro-Israel song, an anti-Palestinian song. It's an anti-evil song. And so that's kind of what I think, sadly, we're missing these days. There's been definitely silence from the artists, regarding calling out Hamas. At the concert for New York, we had every icon, in the world, and not me, but every living icon, kind of came and played and condemned the 9/11 and supported, the families who lost loved ones. But that's not happening this time, and that's a big problem. And it's I think history will judge our industry very poorly. There are a few bright lights, but not many. But we're trying to do a few things to address that as well.
The video for Okay is just beautiful, and I love the ending Martin Luther King quote. How hands-on were you when it was crafting the video for it, or did you give like certain ideas and then you let someone sort of craft it around it so that you could be hands-on but also see someone else's interpretation of the music?
It's a good question. I knew the points I wanted to hit, right? You have to hit the celebrations around the world of the atrocities, right? That was global. You have to hit the people ripping down hostage posters, right, of babies. I mean, what does that say about our culture? Of course, you have to hit the colleges, the kind of cowardice of the presidents and I did a speech and we played a video for 500 high school and college students from around the world a couple weeks ago. Many of them Jewish, but not all of them. And to hear their stories, that what they have to deal with going onto campus, and the fact that the administrators are rarely protecting them, it's egregious. And then, of course, I also wanted to recognize some of the heroes, the people that are standing up and doing the right thing. There's an image of a son of a Hamas leader who's been calling out the death culture of Gaza. Those are true heroes. And as you said, we started with the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, saying there's something wrong when people are celebrating these atrocities, and we end with Martin Luther King saying, "Hey, look, silence in the face of evil is complicity." And unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of complicity in the arts.
Well, is this motivational songs, these moral, beautiful singles that you've been putting out recently, a prelude to an album or an EP, maybe a compilation of songs coming out soon?
I don't know. You know, these days, there's so much going on and so much we're working on. I do a lot of stuff out of music and again, I hope I never have to write one of these. I'd like to just sit down and write a bad version of 100 Years, version 4. Um, but we'll see. I am doing some projects with some Israeli, Ukrainian, Iranian, freedom activists. We'll see where that goes. I'm actually going to Israel in the middle of April. Basically, my tour goes from, let's see, we start in Fargo on the 26th, and then we end in Pittsburgh on the 7th, April 7th. And I had a 1 week break before our tour picked up again, but now I'm going to Israel. So I'll go to Israel, then I'll fly to Seattle, we'll finish our tour, the Coach House in San Juan Capistrano. So it's going to be a pretty wild, 5 weeks, but we'll see where it goes. I do seeing how the song resonates, especially with Jewish people around the world who truly feel abandoned, which they have been. Um,
Bring home our girls.
it shouldn't be hard. Yeah, it shouldn't be hard, right? But we are where we are, so we all have a part to play, and I'll play my part, you'll play your part, and we'll try to make the world a little bit a better place.
Well, bringing it back to this incredible tour you have coming shortly, you mentioned some surprises. Are you able to tease a little bit about what we can expect? Maybe some guest performers we'll see popping up in some of the locations.
Yeah, you never know, who's around town. We always have a cover that everybody can sing to at the end that we pull out of our hats. Um, my favorite part of the show is when I leave the stage and the quartet goes crazy and goes into this jam session that I have no idea what they're going to play. And, it's a family show. And I always tell parents, it's safe to bring your kids, bring grandma and grandpa. As a dad, I know how it is. Sometimes you're a little leery about bringing kids to a show, but I think this is a show that your kids, um, might enjoy and maybe take something home with. So yeah, so you never know when we get on the road. I'll also be every day kind of promoting our Music in the Schools, Music Matter Challenge thing that's launching. So I'll be doing, kind of live broadcasts related to our Music in the Schools contest. So there'll be a lot going on.
Please tell me more about this Music Matters event.
Yeah, so a year and a half ago, I went into a Chicago inner city school that had lost their music teacher, and I partnered with an amazing family, the Tallman family, particularly the daughter Kaylee, who they do incredible philanthropy around the world, particularly in Chicago, where they're from. And we wrote a song. I wrote a song with the students of Farragut Academy, 8 students, and we wrote a song called "Let Music Fill My World." And they wrote all the lyrics. I didn't write any lyrics except "Let Music Fill My World." And so we wrote it. We went to a studio. We recorded it. And these are not kids who are like musical prodigies. Many of them don't play an instrument. They just kind of like music. And through that effort, we raised enough money to provide a music teacher for that school for 3 years. So they're getting a full-time music teacher. And so me and Kaylee, it was so positive. We're like, how can we take this nationally? So what we did, we formed a nonprofit called Let Music Fill My World. And on March 26th, this month is Music in the Schools month. So on March 26th, we are launching the Music Matters Challenge. And what it is anybody, everybody, Jamie, I'm asking you, you will be part of this. Everybody will make a little video on their phones and talk about a music teacher, somebody who made a difference in their life, tell a compelling story about why music matters to them, and then perform a little bit of the song. And you can sing the song, you could play the song on an instrument, you could dance, you could paint a picture. You don't have to be a good singer, you don't have to be a singer. It's really about telling your story. Sing a little bit of Let Music Fill My World, and then they'll go to the letmusicfillmyworld.com website and they will enter into our contest. And we have 2 prizes. The first prize is whoever wins will get to sit with Kaylee and me, and we'll select another school that doesn't have a music teacher and provide another teacher for 3 years at a salary of $250,000. So you're going to get a good one. And the winner will also win $10,000. And then we have a school prize where schools can compete with each other, telling their story, whether it's a marching band, a choir, and the winner of the school prize will win a $25,000 grant. So the main thing is to raise awareness for the 4 million kids who don't have a music teacher. And our goal with this project is before we're done, every school will have a music teacher for every kid.
From your mouth to God's ears, as they say, right? Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
For artists who are looking to get involved in the industry or maybe become musicians themselves, do you have any advice that you would give them?
You know, excuse me. Um, it's really about things that have nothing to do with your talent. It's about work ethic. It's like working hard. It's about staying humble and understanding it's not all about you and working with people around you that support you. It's about building relationships. I remember when Superman went #1, I called every single radio programmer in the country that played the song. And it's important to be humble when you're on top, because one day you're not going to be on top. And also one thing I like to tell, kids who are doing this, everybody thinks they need to be famous by 20 years old because they see these influencers and, oh my God, I'm 22, I'm over. You know, I didn't have a hit song till I was my late 20s. And it's really important to enjoy the journey, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the people you're around, what you're creating. Be brave, go on stage, record hundreds of songs, write hundreds of songs. Um, work with people that have skills you don't. Listen to everything, but really have fun and enjoy it. That's the arts. Maybe it's a livelihood, maybe it's a career, but music, will be healthy for you the rest of your life, no matter how you apply it. And there's no guarantees in the music business, and you never know. You could be the best singer-songwriter in the world, and it's not going to work. So, just give it a swing. If you get knocked down, get up and enjoy the journey.
Who are some artists that you're really enjoying listening to these days, or up and coming artists that you've heard their music and maybe you'd love to collaborate with them?
That's interesting. I'm a child of the 70s, right? So I'm locked into the 70s singer-songwriter golden age, the classic rock. of the day.
See if we
Um,
can get a James Taylor on there at some point.
I actually opened for James at an Andre Agassi event once, and I was so like a kid in a candy store. Of course, James, Joni Mitchell, Billy Elton, go down the list. Um, but of course, it's great to have iconic singers like Adele. You have a great voice. Um, I love, what she's doing. There's so many great new artists out there that my kids turn me on to every day. And I've found myself with these new projects listening to David Broza from Israel. He's kind of one of their iconic artists, and discovering like David's music has been amazing. And Ukrainian music. I actually did a version of Kim Will Man Save the World with a band called Antitila, which is a Ukrainian rock band, and they are incredible. This dude has like a Freddie Mercury voice. I'm like, I can't sing this with you. It's embarrassing. Um, so I'm meeting these artists around the world that I would never meet in any other circumstance. So um, maybe I'll put together a little playlist and send it to you, Jamie.
Love that. What would you like to say then to people who are fans and supporters of the incredible music you continue to make? And people are still discovering Superman and 100 and everything like that. You still have songs that continue to resonate with so many people, and people still cover them. It must mean so much to you.
It really does. The fact that the songs have kind of stood the test of time is the greatest satisfaction for, I think, any songwriter. It's amazing to have a hit song, but as you said, I have kids coming to my show who are not born when they came out, and that's pretty wild. So yeah, it's I just say to everybody, I'm really grateful that you've allowed me to do this and continue to do this. If you're interested at all in these new songs, um, please share them. Share them on Instagram and share them on your social media, and we all have a role to play in kind of trying to make the world a little better place. I have a song called World, and the question is, what kind of world do you want? And I think we all have to answer that in our own ways. And no voice is too small. And we're really kind of, sounds a little cliche, but I do think we're all in this together.